Oh my gosh, guys, it's the last 10 at 10 for 2023. Y'all ain't gonna wanna miss this. Peace.
Hey y'all, I'm Tim. Welcome to the MrMaple Show.
Guys, what's up? I'm Corbin. I'm here to talk about some trees, y'all.
Guys, let's get started on this 10 at 10. Every Tuesday at 10 a.m., we list 10 new plants on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. And today's 12/28 of 2023, the last 10 at 10 of the year. So we're gonna talk about 10 trees on the table. There's actually 20, so check your email. You can sign up for that on MrMaple.com to figure out the other 10. Guess what? They also all list at 10 a.m., so you can check the website too.
Guys, starting off with Cornus, Cusa, Summer Fun.
Y'all, summer fun. This is one that's definitely gonna add some fun to the landscape.
I know, right now, it's almost January here. I need some summer in my life. Put this in your garden. You're gonna get some amazing variegation. You're gonna get those wonderful dogwood blooms that are going on. I mean, look at that, like the pink color during the fall time. That thing is going not just in the summer, but all year round, man.
This is a selection by Tal and Buchholz from Buchholz and Buchholz Nursery. It's a Chinese dogwood. It's a Cornus Cusa. That means it's disease resistant, anthracnose resistant, powdery mildew resistant. It gives you those white blooms during the summer, but the leaves on this are almost like flowers themselves. They give you a creamy white on blue-green variegation throughout all year, and then in the fall, the reds and the pinks. It adds so much fun in the landscape. Everything you love about Cusa dogwoods, and it's variegated.
Yeah, man, one of my favorite dogwoods. All right, what do we got next, man?
I guess we'll knock out the non-maples first. We got Metasseogpos glyptostroboides Amber Glow.
Guys, if you don't get this tree just for the name, then it's got some awesome features as well. I mean, I love the redwoods. It's going to be deciduous, so don't be worried about this thing being a little bald right now. That's supposed to happen, and you're going to know why, because in that spring, you're going to get some amazing colors. Known for its name, it's going to give you some nice amber colors in the springtime.
It really does. This is a tree that's extremely vigorous. It can handle those wetter places in the garden. It is a dawn redwood, so when it drops its needles during the winter, guess what? You get that redwood bark on this. It's an outstanding dawn redwood for the garden. It's going to end up growing about 2 to 3 feet of growth per year once it gets established. A really cool dawn redwood you should grow.
Yeah, man, this one, I know Brian was telling me about a homie he had out in Oklahoma. He planted a redwood there, watered that thing for an hour, like every day. And man, it just got huge by the time that Brian had left. And I mean, just imagine that in the garden, just an amazing redwood. You don't want to miss out on that.
Now this one's really noted too for having a really good bronze amber color in the fall and just sort of having that glowing effect. A really cool dawn redwood. And dawn redwoods are some of my favorite trees. They're easy to grow, they're drought resistant, but like I said earlier, they can handle those wetter spots in the garden. So you can put those in the spots where the Japanese maples can't grow.
Yeah, and that's a great place to break up some of the maples, give a little bit more texture, and yeah, throw some diversity up in there.
All right, what do we got next, Corbin?
Man, we got some Bihu, guys. Acer palmatum Bihu, an amazing coral bark. I mean, look at that yellow, man. It's like somebody took a school bus, crushed it down into a tree, and then threw it out there in the landscape, man.
This thing is just one of the brightest yellow bark selections of them all. It's an intense highlighter yellow, gives you some good winter interest out there in the garden. For a coral bark selection, Bihu, I mean, it just brings the intensity.
It really does, man. I mean, you're walking through the greenhouse right now, a lot of leaves have already fallen, and I mean, those coral barks are gonna catch your eye in a sea of trees. So just imagine what it's gonna look like in your landscape. I mean, that's gonna be something that people are gonna be like, what is that yellow tree out there? Pair it with a Sangukaku, man. Pair it with a Baton Rouge. You're gonna get some amazing color contrast. And I mean, also, I think the foliage is amazing during the spring and the fall time. I mean, this thing is not just winter interest. It's gonna be an awesome tree year round.
The thing I love about Bihu most is the fall color. And when you get the fall color, it's an intense bright yellow. The bark's a bright yellow. The fact that it's the same color from the base all the way through the leaves, it looks unreal. And it's one of the most striking trees during that fall time. When those leaves drop and you see this yellow bark, it's outstanding. I do recommend giving many of the coral barks an evergreen background, or a building backdrop, something where you can really showcase the color of the bark. If you give it a background, it's easier to see. You can notice that if I've got this tree over here, if I've got this tree in front of me, that bark intensifies when it's right here in front of my gray sweater. And that's what you can do when you're doing this out in the landscape, when you're growing this out in the landscape. Give it a backdrop. And this thing's gonna really show some really nice intensity on the bark color. And you can really show off how bright yellow the bark is itself.
Yeah, man, I think this is a tree. It's pretty easy to know what cultivar it is. I know one of the first trees that I ever learned was Sengokaku, and it's just because, like, hey, that's got some crazy looking bark. Throw this in the garden, let your kids know, like, hey, this is that yellow tree, man. And they're gonna start to kind of pick up on that and maybe, you know, learn some more maples, so.
Bihu, some people pronounce this Bihao. There's a lot of different discrepancies on how you pronounce different Japanese names. And the reason that is because, I mean, if we live in the Appalachian Mountains here, someone up north might live in the Appalachian Mountains, and they say it that way up there, and we say it's the same way in Japan. In Japan, they have different regional dialects as well. And so there are different ways people pronounce the same cultivar of a Japanese maple too. I mean, so many cool plants on the table today, and Bihu might sell out quickly today. Make sure you check out fast because our website doesn't hold it for you until you complete that checkout process.
Yeah, man, you don't want to miss out on that one. Oh, nice. This is another awesome one. Guys, we got Acer sheir Royalty.
Y'all, this is a newer selection by Talon Buchholz. One of his newer introductions. It's an Acer sheir selection, and it gives you more of that kind of reddish purple kind of color on the new growth in the spring.
Yeah, man, I like those red sheir. They got longer lobes going down. It gives a nice foliage that's happening. And yeah, this one's really, really nice. I mean, obviously, if Talon named it, it had to be an awesome tree. So I can't wait to see kind of what this one looks like year round. I mean, this is kind of the first time like I've sort of seen some pictures of it and that sort of thing, but I'm ready to watch this one grow.
Pair this with your Moonrise, your Bronze Age. This is a sheir that's going to stand out. And the other thing I like about the sheir hybrids is Acer sheir hybrids tend to do well in those zone 5s, especially if you have a polar vortex. A lot of the sheir hybrids do extremely well in those cold snaps. When you have that, they leaf out later, they're slower growing, and they seem to perform extremely well in those extreme cold climates. But you don't have to be in a cold climate to enjoy Royalty. I mean, this is a tree that's going to rock it out in your garden, and it's got that unique leaf shape you were talking about with a little bit more elongated foliage, but it is an Acer sheir hybrid. And probably, I mean, to me, it looks like a sister seedling or something to Bronze Age, but it is such a cool plant, and it's one that I think the more and more I'm around it, the more and more I appreciate this tree.
Yeah, man. Once you said Bronze Age, I was like, oh, bingo. Yeah, that's definitely kind of that leaf morphology that's going on. And I mean, yeah, you're going to feel like a king if you got this in the garden, man.
So guys, right now we've got the 2024 t-shirt design competition contest happening right now. It's about to end. So send your t-shirt design contest ideas to MrMapleGiveaway@gmail.com. Be unique, be different, send something funny. We've got a lot of great ideas that have already been sent to MrMapleGiveaway@gmail.com. So send yours in. And what could you win, Corbin?
Guys, you could win a $50 Mr. Maple gift card. But wait, that's not all. You could also get an awesome autograph photo of Buchholz Nursery hanging up. I got one in my office.
That poster's amazing. When we went to go visit Talon Buchholz himself, we went and got that same poster. He was handing those out and got it autographed. So I was like, Talon, you mind autographing a few more of these? He met me one morning at 6 a.m., signed some of them so we could give them out for our 2024 t-shirt design ideas. So guys, get those ideas in. We've got some great ones already, and I'd love to see some more coming in to MrMapleGiveaway@gmail.com.
All right, man, what do we got here? Oh, yeah. Acer palmanum Killarney, guys.
Killarney, a selection that's introduced into the nursery trade by Dick Wolf of Red Maple Nurseries. I mean, this is a really cool plant.
Yeah, I like this one. We were looking at it. Get some nice lime greens in the springtime. Goes into a deeper green during the summertime. And I mean, whew, that fall color, that stuff was electric. Awesome oranges and yellows going on. It has a pretty cool backstory too, it seems like, man.
Yeah, I think it's maybe named after like a special castle in Ireland or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely got some Irish roots in the name. And with that green color, it makes perfect sense. But the fall color, this tree is electric in the fall. The thing I love about Killarney is it's not your typical upright. So it's upright and it spreads out. So it's got this nice spreading habit as it gets upright. It's more of that Matsumuri kind of foliage. And because of that, it'll often get a little wider than it does tall out there in the garden. Killarney is one of those fall color Japanese maples that's going to rock it out, give you that lively summery feel in the garden, and then have that changing of the seasons with some great fall color.
Yeah, this is one of those trees where the fall color kind of looks like a little bit of watercolor, man. I mean, there's just splotches of oranges mixing with those yellows. And I mean, the photos that we have online, it really just looks like a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is. It's a phenomenal fall color. Now, if you love Japanese maples, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to us on MrMaple.com. We add a lot of cool plants to our website all the time on MrMaple.com. But our Mr. Maple show on YouTube, we do that too. We're always adding new YouTube videos daily to the Mr. Maple YouTube show. And Corbin, he's one of the main guys. Him and Joe are the ones that are editing a lot of those videos. We got Sean who comes and edits our podcast. So find us on your favorite podcast platform too, because we do a weekly podcast too. We got tons of content coming out here on Japanese maples, and we'd appreciate if you subscribed, give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Heck, we'd really appreciate it too if you went and found us and gave us a 5-star Google review as well.
Yeah, guys, make sure you check out those walkthrough Wednesdays. Those are always my favorite. Love bringing that experience of walking through an amazing garden to you guys on YouTube. So, all right, Tim, we got Acer palmatum regos here, man.
Regos, this is a selection by J.D. Vertrees himself. It has larger, thicker foliage than many of the other Japanese maples. J.D. Vertrees says, I didn't introduce many different varieties of Japanese maples. Heck, I can think of at least 10 that he named or introduced into the nursery trade, and this is one of them. And it has this thicker foliage. It's almost like it's got extra ploidy. It's got extra chromosomes in this plant because it's got thicker branching. It's got thicker leaves. I mean, they're almost leathery to the touch. And it's got this sort of green color that's real unique. And then it just starts malting into some really cool fall colors. We start seeing some like orange red start coming into the foliage.
Yeah, man. I'm always interested in the ploidy. My homie Jordan, who you guys probably know, he was always talking about all these ploidies and how many chromosomes stuff has. I know Ruby Ridge might be one of those ones where we're kind of like, hey, how many chromosomes does that thing have? And I mean,
I think Ruby Ridge was actually a seedling from regos.
Well, that makes sense then, I guess, man. Like, this could be a long line of a different ploidy set of maples, man. I mean, and that brings so many possibilities. I know Jordan was always talking about that. You know, this could be the future of maples. I mean, honestly.
I mean, if you look at what happened with ploidy with daylilies, you get that extra ploidy, and then they start getting thick margin variegation around the edge of the bloom, like these thick ruffles that are different color. And then they start getting throats that are different color. They already had throats that were different colors. And then they start getting splotched, like different colored bloom variegation, for a better word, that are like speckles across it. And it's all because they start getting this extra ploidy into daylilies. And then with maples, what doors does this open up? I mean, that's the real question is, when you start getting into more ploidy with Japanese maples, what doors opens up?
I know. I think that this one, there's always a couple different leads I'm listening to if Matt and Tim are talking about it, whether it be hybrids or something like ploidy manipulation and how many ploidies it has. This is something that is really cool, and I mean, you're going to be wanting to collect some seeds off of this thing. All right, Tim, what do we got next?
Guys, next up, we've got Acer palmatum shjo shadari.
Oh yeah, man, this one is pretty awesome. I know it's a very rare version of a weeping lace leaf. Shjo meaning a deep red, and shadari meaning weeping. And I mean, this one is pretty awesome. Where'd it come from, Tim?
This is a selection from Japan that's not too often seen in the nursery trade. I actually got mine years and years ago, my original shjo shadari, from Mike Francis Sr. He was a good friend of ours, and we would talk plants all the time. And it's basically a red weeping lace leaf, but it's more cascading than an shadari. I mean, it's definitely a lot more like orangeola in its shape.
Yeah.
It has heavily cascading branches on it, and it is more of that shadari kind of foliage where you get that maroon kind of color. It goes green, red late summer, and then gives you a brighter red in the fall. Really, it's a classic Japanese maple that you don't see as often in the nursery trade, but it should be used more. It's a really beautiful tree.
Yeah, I think that this one is pretty awesome just because you're kind of getting that, you're getting that red lace leaf that everybody's always looking for. You know, you talk to anybody, they're like, I want one of those in my garden. It's got that little extra bit of history coming from Japan and being a little bit rare. So, you know, it's like a little bit finer taste, you know.
Oh yeah, a lot of your shadari and your tamukiyamas, they're great plants, but they have more of that arching weeping habit, where this one's going to be straight down pendulous. These are grafted upwards, right around 10-12 inches, so they can cascade straight downward. Great tree for containers. Great tree, you know, if you wanted to try to do one in like a hanging basket or something like that too. This is a selection that'd be excellent for that because of its heavily cascading habit. Definitely a fun tree to use out there, and one you don't see every day.
All right, now we're getting into some of my favorite trees right here, man.
Some of your favorite trees on the table. What do you like about this tree, Corbin?
Oh man, I'm a sucker for dwarfs, and here we got one of the princesses, Kohime. Acer palmatum, guys. This thing is amazing. It's gonna get that beautiful purple reddish color on the outside with a greenish eye. It's going to give you an amazing kind of dwarf compact shape. It's a little bit more upright than the Kohime's ball shape. It's a little bit more calmer, a little bit further like conical shape.
Now Kuro means black red, Hime means princess or dense compact, and so essentially this means black red princess. This is such a cool little plant. I like it because it's upright, it's got small foliage, and the color in the springtime, it's got like this pink purple blush across it. It goes to a blue-green midsummer, and during the new growth flushes during the summer are a pink purple. And so you've got this really cool look midsummer where you've got blue-green down below with that pink purple new growth on top. It's an outstanding fall color tree too. It goes to a bright orange to bright orange red in the fall. I like it because it's an upright dwarf. I mean, a lot of the dwarfs that you see out there are low, spreading out. This one's a little more upright, a little different. Be an excellent one for you to try to turn into a bonsai.
Oh yeah, man. There was a time where we just got a big shipment of 10 gallons. And, you know, I was really looking at my first big 10-gallon purchase. And it was up between a Kohime and another one we got on the table. I won't spoil that yet. But this one, the gradient during the summertime, I mean, it's amazing watching it go from those greens to that fiery red color on top, man. It's awesome.
I think you ended up going with one of the close to one of the other ones on the table, and Brian ended up going with one of these. And Brian got one of these for his garden, and it's a showstopper. I mean, the more I've grown to love this plant, you see, it came into the United States about 2008, and it didn't really hit the market as strong as I thought it should have, because this tree is a rock star. And I think it's really starting to pick up speed now because more people are starting to realize how special and unique this tree is.
Oh, no kidding, man. This is one you want in the landscape. And you definitely want the one that I picked too with the 10 gallons. But this one, oh man, just throw it in the garden, watch it grow. And as it gets older, it just gets better and better. All right, man. Got some more non-maples going on right here.
Guys, next up we've got Ginkgo biloba green pagoda.
Guys, ginkgos, they're going to be salt tolerant, they're going to be drought tolerant. Throw some lime in there, get it to grow a little faster. This tree is going to be very hardy, and I mean, you're going to love that nice green color it brings during the spring and summer, but then that fall color is going to be amazing. I mean,
now green pagoda is a selection of a ginkgo that gets 8 to 10 feet in height by about 8 to 10 foot in width. It has a nice rounded canopy. It's a really good grower out there in the landscape. It gives you everything you love about ginkgos, but a smaller tree. And that's why it's that green pagoda out there in the garden. It's more manageable, it's easy to fit out there in the garden. And really, it just gives you some excellent form.
Yeah, no kidding. I think sometimes ginkgos get a little sticky. This one is definitely going to be a full tree. And I mean, it's going to be an awesome structure for those leaves to hold on to. And you're going to get something nice to look at during the wintertime too, so.
Yeah, the thing I love about ginkgos is that bright yellow fall color. It contrasts so well with many of the Japanese maples. Many of the maples we talked about today, basically, many of them turn to oranges and reds. I think Bihu is one of the few ones that goes just a pure yellow. But that's the way many Japanese maples are. And these ginkgos match the maple's intensity on the fall color. Some may even say even more intense on its yellow fall color. And it's so cool because, like, if you have a ginkgo out there in the landscape, it's going to be intense. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. And then you start to see 1 or 2 leaves fall off. And in like 24 hours, all the leaves are on the ground, but they're still in fall color. I've even seen some people who have ginkgo parties, outdoor parties, along the time whenever the ginkgos fall on the ground, the leaves, just because it's so cool to go out there and see all those ginkgo leaves, not just on the tree, but on the ground themselves. Yeah,
once you see one leaf start to fall, you better bust that camera out, guys, because it ain't going to last too long. But, I mean, the brightest candle, it burns the quickest, guys. So definitely check out Green Pagoto. It's going to be an awesome one. All right, now we got one of my favorite trees too, Murasaki Kohime, guys. This one, chef kiss, man. This one is awesome. I love the habit on this. I love that border it gets during the springtime. And I mean, this was one of those trees that pulled my eye. I love the small leaves. The list just goes on and on about this tree, man.
Yo, Murasaki Kohime, this is an excellent one for bonsai. Ours are grafted. These are grafted right around 3 inches, I'd say 3 to 4 inches. And Murasaki Kohime, it makes this nice little ball shape. It's a little more semi-upright than something like Kohime, which is a little closer to the ground. It has a purple-red border in the spring. And when this tree makes that nice little rounded ball shape, and each and every leaf has a purple-red border around the edge, it's going to grab your attention. It's going to grab whoever's visiting your garden, their attention as well. It looks like little flowers all across the tree. And you're drawn into it because it's just this repeating pattern in this perfect little round ball that just is so pleasant to look at. It's going to be a tree you're going to love.
Yeah, this one, I mean, I love the compact habit it has. It really just does, like, without any pruning, kind of forms this perfect ball shape. And I mean, that purple is very, very nice in the springtime. I mean, just almost like from a darker purple to almost like a lavender color, and going right into that nice green eye that it has. This was a hard one for me to beat, for me, honestly.
Now, this is a tree that does fantastic in containers. You put it out there in a little pot out there in the garden, and it's going to thrive and do well. One of the things I love about Murasaki Kohime is it's extremely hardy. It's sun tolerant, it's heat tolerant, it's shade tolerant too. It's the same in the sun as it does in the shade, but it'll be a little denser in the sunlight. And it's noted for being one of the easiest trees to grow out there. For a container, making that little ball shape, that bun, it's phenomenal. And for a bonsai, it's that way as well. I love this tree. And it's just something about those little star-shaped leaves that have that little purple-red border all around it that just grab your attention. It's got a pretty good fall color too. It goes some bright reds in the fall. I mean, this is a cool plant. If you don't have the Hime types, Murasaki Kohime is definitely a cool one to grow and try.
Yeah, no kidding. It's an awesome place to start. I'm looking at some of those little leaves hanging on there, and I mean, smaller than my pinky fingernail, guys. Like, tiny little leaves. That's something that I think is awesome about Japanese maples. They just have those, literally, it looks like somebody just like stuck it on there, made a little tiny, like, punched a hole out of some paper and stuck it on there, man. And I love that about the maples. They just look awesome.
Yeah, and Murasaki Kohime, one you're going to love. Again, our 1 gallons are grafted. Now, sometimes people will use a grafted tree like this as a bonsai. We see plenty of exhibits of this at the, we've seen this at the Pacific Rim collection. We've seen grafted specimens being used at the North Carolina Arboretum. So it definitely can be used in professional bonsai collections. But you can also put this in the ground and then do rooted cuttings or air layers off of this to make your bonsai material. So you can get 1 or 2 of these out there in the ground, and then you've got all this material to work from going forward if you're into bonsai.
Yeah, man, this is a great place to start, man. But yeah, that's the 10 trees that we have on the table today, guys.
And guys, there's 10 more. Check out your weekly email or go to MrMaple.com at 10 a.m. Guys, check out fast today. Many of these are going to sell out fast. And as always, y'all, we appreciate y'all so much, especially our international viewers. Can't thank y'all enough. Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.